Hi guys, welcome back or welcome. I'm just gonna get right into this video because you probably know what it is from the title. So considering my last video was a vlog and I included me getting baptized in that vlog, I really wanted my next video to be um like some of my testimony and just my experience for the last 7, 8 years with Christianity and everything that I've been through, how I strayed, how I came back, what God is doing in my life right now. Yeah, so I'm just gonna talk about all of it and just share essentially this long road that I've been down and how I kind of stepped off and I am back on now in my walk with Christ. I don't think I ever talked about my religion when I was in high school and I was uploading videos because I know some of my subscribers, some of y'all are like way back when I was in high school. Um, but yeah, I initially stepped into Christianity, like really devout Christianity, when I was about 14, 15 years old. That's when I really got deep into Christianity. Because when I was 8, um, my mom would always make this joke. Whenever I'd ask her where she was going, she would say, "To hell if I don't pray." And it was like a funny way of her saying, like, it's none of your business. And so literally from 8 years old, I would pray every night before I went to bed. And I would kind of just sit there and talk to God and be like, yeah, like, I don't really know what to pray about, but I don't want to go to hell. So me and God are just going to chit chat. And I was doing that for years. Like, I literally was doing that up until about the age of 12, I want to say, until I got a bit more of an understanding that when you pray to God, like there's actually things you can pray about or people you can pray for or just things that you can intercede, like that kind of stuff. I didn't have that understanding. And yeah, so, but fast forward, my Nana, who passed away in my senior year of high school, she was a very devout Christian. And a lot of the women in my family are Christian. A lot of the people in my family are Christian in general, like my extended family. My immediate family is more like I have some brothers who are religious and I have some who couldn't really care for religion. Um, but yeah, I around the age of 14, my Nana came down and she visited. And I mean, this woman was a woman of God. Like, she ran what is it called? Like a food drive out of the church that she went to. She was at that church most days out of the week. She volunteered there. She was the kind of woman, like, I remember she told me God told her to drive somewhere, and she didn't know where she was driving, but she just drove there. And she met a man at a car dealership. She ended up at a car dealership, and she gave that man apparently like life-changing advice. So that's the kind of woman of God she was. And so she had a very big impact on my life, and she just touched my heart with Christianity. And I saw like her relationship with God and the kind of woman that she was, and I wanted to be just like my Nana when I was in high school. Um, so yeah, she came down and visited us in Georgia around the age of 14, 15. And I remember she gave me a Bible for teen girls. I actually still have it. It's in my bedroom. But she gave me that Bible. I kind of just honestly, I was close to God, but I only knew how to be close to God in a season of blessings. So what I would do with that Bible is I would flip to it. I would flip it open and ask God to show me a page, and I kind of used it as like in a fortune telling way. I would use it before track meets because y'all know I was a track athlete in high school. I ran track in college. So in high school, I would just before my meets, I'd always pray to God about track because track was something that really held down my relationship with God because I used to be so nervous at track meets. Like track, never been anything in my life that brought me the anxiety that track brought me because I felt so much pressure to be the best and to run a certain time or to jump a certain height or to jump a certain distance. And so God really is what held me down during track, because I always felt like I was not capable of doing the things I was doing, or I didn't understand how I was doing the things I was doing. All I knew was that I would pray and God would like figure the rest out. So I started using the Teenage Girls Bible in a sense of like I'd open it up, because there were devotional pages too. So I'd open it up, and if it was a certain page, it was, oh, today's going to be a good day. Or I'd open it up, and if it was another page, it was, oh, today's not going to be a good day, or I'm not going to win this race. And that's kind of how I was using it. But also, my Nana was telling me books of the Bible to read. And I was reading them, like Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Psalms. She told me to read like those books in the Bible, which looking back, I can see why she told me to read those, because I believe Proverbs teaches you a lot about how to be a child of God and how you walk as a Christian. But I was reading them, but honestly, like I was a teenager, y'all. I really did not grasp everything the way I do now as a 23-year-old. So again, I was mainly using it for like track and like fortune telling. But I did get out at meets. I would pray for people. You know, I was very firm in being abstinent when I was in high school. Like nobody could touch me, nothing. um, I was, I guess, following like God's commandments, and I was praying every morning, every night. I did read the Bible, but I just didn't understand it the same way. And I was using it, like I said again, to tell me how I would do at a meet that day. So it was, you could say I had a relationship with God. I definitely did. It just wasn't like founded, I guess, on being in the presence of God or knowing who God was, or understanding Jesus Christ and his role in Christianity. Like I didn't have, I think, the important like foundational things that help build a framework for walking as a child of God. I just had like somewhat of a surface level understanding is what I would say, but it was getting me through things for that age, but obviously it wasn't going to be enough to hold me down when I got into different and more difficult seasons of my life. This is basically my form of Christianity, how I practiced Christianity in high school. And my Nana passed away my senior year of high school from cancer. And so I think that kind of was the start of me having difficulty in my relationship with God and truly walking with God, because I tried to like remain faithful and continue to seek the Lord. But I think a part of me was angry. I think I had a hard time conceptualizing why someone as good as my Nana would be taken off of the earth. And I think I was angry with God about that for a long time, to be honest. But I eventually convinced myself, like, oh, you know, like God just wanted his child back. She was too pure for the earth. And that's what I was telling myself. But I didn't fully believe it or understand it because I was just so young. And it's not that I'm like not still young. 23 is very young. But I think as like a 17-year-old trying to conceptualize Christianity and death and Jesus, it was just so difficult for me. But I'm also looking back, I can say that in hindsight. But yeah, so she passed away, and then I also went to college, and to this day, I'm like, what, almost 3 years removed from graduating college. I will say Duke was a very hard 4 years of my life, but it was very necessary, and I see why that 4 years of my life was so crucial to my character development and my growth as a person, and to my understanding of the world and the way people in this world operate, and the way I operate alongside those other people who are also operating and existing in space together. But yeah, Duke was very hard. I'm trying to find a good way to word this. The person that I was with romantically when I was at Duke had these very valid, and I mean like very valid, genuine questions about the Lord. And I think it was stuff that I never thought about. And I already was struggling with God with the death of my Nana. I felt like I was facing really difficult times in other aspects of my life, particularly at Duke. And so I think what it was is that it was really easy for me to stray because, like I mentioned earlier, I only understood how to praise and worship God and have a relationship with God in a season of blessings. I did not know how to walk with God through trials, through tribulations, through hardship, how to go through difficult things and remain steadfast in my faith. I did not have that ability. And yeah, that person just posed questions. And I mean, to this day, I think they're very good questions, posing very valid questions about God. It was questions I didn't have the answers to, pointing out things that things about God that kind of just don't necessarily make sense. And it was stuff, honestly, I needed to just go out and do the research on and seek people that would give me the answers. But I think I was in a mindset where I felt myself straying and I was kind of ready to just, I hate to say this word, but or this phrase, but cut that cord and not be religious anymore and not be Christian. And I had been seeing things about crystals and things about like witchcraft and spirituality, tarot, astrology. Like I was getting into all of that already. And so I think I kind of was just ready to step out of Christianity and to step into all of the new age stuff. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. I think I asked one or two people the questions that I had. I at the time decided that their answers weren't good enough and that God wasn't worth it. Christianity wasn't worth it, and I felt that I shouldn't waste my time on a religion that didn't make sense. So I decided to completely step away from Christianity. I want to say in fall 2021, which was my junior year of college. Because I think the summer 2021, I was still trying to go to church with my friend. I was still trying to make it work. I was trying to, I guess that was my last fight at Christianity and trying to stay within the religion and understand it. But by fall 2021, I was just done. So yeah, I did find my way into New Age practices and witchcraft. I made a lot of friends who were into spirituality. I started reading books about meditation. Well, not that I think meditation is a bad thing. And I don't think meditation should be associated with spirituality and witchcraft. I think meditation is just a mindfulness practice that can be very beneficial. I still meditate as a Christian, but I think it's your intention that matters. Like when I was meditating, when I considered myself spiritual, I meditated, to open my third eye. And well, I don't want to put quotes around it because I think there's validity to everything. I just think different things work for different people. But yeah, I would meditate to open my third eye. I was meditating to see things and to make all of these things happen. And now I kind of just meditate on the word of God. So that's what I'm saying. I think there's a difference in intention. So yeah, I got into all of that. I got so many crystals. I remember that at the end of that fall of 2021, I came home. I went to a crystal store with my mom and I got so many crystals. I got incense, I got sage, and literally, from day one, things started happening, like unexplainable, supernatural things. And at that time, it had really piqued my interest and I thought it was so cool. And I was like, wow, this is what was meant for me all along. And yeah, I just got really deep into it. I got deep into witchcraft. I started learning about the different types of witchcraft. I never practiced witchcraft though, but I was kind of too into it. I got really deep into just new age stuff, like chakras and like I said, all the crystals. I started learning how to do tarot. I started doing tarot. I started trying to have dreams and take herbs that would enhance certain parts of my dreams. I astral projected. I had some really crazy experiences with tarot and astral projecting. I would go outside and meditate by the water, hoping to see different things. And I don't want to say, even if this is weird, because I'm never going to knock a belief system or practice system, because like I said, I think there's some validity to everything. And I think that's where I know some Christians feel differently about this. I don't necessarily think that the other things are not real. I think the point of Christianity for me is that there is other stuff out there, but like I'm choosing God, I'm choosing Jesus Christ at the end of the day. So I think that stuff is very real, and I know it's real because I was in it. But at the end of the day, you know, God called his daughter back and I came back. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too much into the spirituality stuff, but I will say, to tie that all up, I did learn a lot, and I mean a lot, from when I was spiritual or into new age practices. Like, I definitely gained a sense of self-confidence that I lacked when I was an undergrad. It definitely taught me self-confidence. I definitely started to understand things like my ego, and how big it was and how much of an impact it had on my relationships and my interactions with myself and my interactions with the people around me. I definitely gained a very keen understanding and awareness of my surroundings and the people that occupied my surroundings. I gained this understanding of just like energy and reading energy. And that is honestly something I don't want to say like reading energy in the same way, but just like feeling energy. But now I would say it's more along the lines of discernment. Like, God helps me discern between, like, I might meet somebody and God will kind of, the Holy Spirit in me will let me know, like, oh, like, you know, this is a cool person, but it's probably not going to be your kind of person, or it's not your person. Or this person's going to lead you closer to God, and this person is someone you might want to be around and seek to share space with and engage in conversation with. So that's what I mean. I learned a lot from spirituality. I learned mindfulness. It was very therapeutic. I did a lot of shadow work, which is just journaling, like really, what is the word? Really introspective prompts about yourself and your relationship with the world, your views around the world, your views of yourself. And it was very therapeutic. And I did it while I was in therapy my senior year at Duke. And it was very beneficial. I basically spent from graduation up until about July of 2024, which was like a few months ago, trying to, you know, get deeper into spirituality and continue to grow and elevate myself spiritually. But in March, I met my current partner. I met him at an open mic. I was giving a poem actually about something that I had gone through at that point in my life. And he approached me after, and we were just like chatting it up. You know, my close friends know I'm really bad at knowing when people are flirting with me, and I thought it was something that would get better. It has gotten better, but it's still not, I think, where it should be. But yeah, I thought he was just trying to be friends, so we were texting like a little bit on and off for the next few weeks, and then we actually went on a date, and it was so much fun. And we just were like, yeah, we're gonna keep talking and see where things go. But he is Christian. And I remember like I'd call him every now and then. We'd be on FaceTime at night, and I'd be like, oh, what are you doing? And he'd be like, oh, I'm reading the Bible. Or sometimes he would just talk about how he needs to be like reading the Bible more. We went on a cruise together, and he was reading the Bible. He brought his Bible on the cruise. He'd be reading it on the like patio of our room out in front of the water. And I just thought it was like so cool, because in my head I'm like, wow, we're so different, because he knew I was spiritual. Maybe June or July, I believe his mom and him invited me to go to church with them, and I was like, sure, I'm not opposed to going to church, because like I said, I still did think there was some validity in everything. I just had my own qualms with Christianity, or so I thought, qualms, which really were not issues. But yeah, they invited me to go to church with them. I went and I actually took away things from the sermon that were applicable to my life. And it was cool because we all were in the car. I was driving us back to their house after, and we were just talking about like how we felt like God was speaking to us. And I think this is an important thing to mention. While I was spiritual, I never stopped believing in a higher power. I was never an atheist. It was none of that. I always believed that there was a God. I just referred to God as spirit because I thought God was too associated with religion. So that's why I was like okay with going to church and all of that, because I was like, they're using God. Like I can use God, but I know what I mean, essentially is how I was thinking about it. But yeah, we were talking about it in the car, and I just remember having this moment where I was like, wow, like I really used to do this. Like I'd be at church every Sunday, either virtually or in person. I was in the Bible, like I was praying all the time. I was doing all of these things. And I guess it just clicked for me that like I wasn't doing any of that anymore. And so I think I went home that night and thought about a lot of things. I thought about, where I was currently in my life with spirituality and religion, how I viewed God, like how that was working out for me. I did like research on things. I asked questions, and it was the questions that I should have asked, I think, when I was in college, when I was an undergrad. And yeah, it was like I just decided to open my heart up to God that week. And it felt like overnight there was a change. And I think I was kind of fighting it for a little, because I was like, no, like I literally left Christianity to be spiritual or like do new age stuff. And I feel like going back, like, God's not going to want me back. So I actually explored another religious / spiritual practice. And they have a temple in Atlanta, and I went a few Sundays. And I think that really solidified for me that Christianity was what I wanted to do, because I went to that place, but then I also did research on other religious practices and other spiritual practices. And then I had this like enlightening moment where I was like, I really think I had it right for myself to begin with. I know Christianity and Jesus Christ is what I believe in and what my heart is aligned with. And it was hard to admit that, but there was also like a sense of peace that came with admitting that to myself. And I realized that, I always thought spirituality and witchcraft and all of that stuff was for me. And I really realized that it was Jesus who was for me the whole time. And I don't really know how to explain it, but it was like God, literally, I opened up my heart. You know how they always say, like, when you seek the Lord, he will meet you where you are. I just decided to open my heart up to God, and he came in and did wonders. And I was also in the season where just a lot of things started going right. And the only thing that could explain things going right was God. I got a new apartment, and it kind of like shouldn't have worked out, and it did. And then I ended up having to leave my last job because what is it called? Our clinical directors were trying to blame me and two of my other coworkers for something that we did not do. And it was kind of like crazy because it came out of nowhere, because I was doing fine at that job, like really close with my coworkers, had a really great relationship with management. And it felt like all of that just happened out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, what's going on? But yeah, they essentially tried to blame us for something that we didn't do, and they had us sign off on it. And they were basically going to use that later as evidence to for grounds to fire us. And so I ended up just leaving the job. But the job that I'm at now, I didn't even know existed. I had no clue about the clinic, or that it was so local, or it would be right down the street from the apartment that God blessed me with. But yeah, one of my coworkers at my old job, the day I left my old job, told me, hey, like, here's this clinic. I think you would love it there. She sent me the social media. I was like, wow, like, this place looks so cool. I literally had no clue this existed. And I applied, or no, I was looking for their like application, their hiring stuff. I didn't see anything up, and I was so sad. And the next morning I checked again to see if they were hiring, and they had just posted like 3 seconds prior to me checking. And so I went on, I applied immediately, and someone got back to me almost ASAP, and she was like, hey, we would love to have you for an interview. And I was like, oh my gosh, not this is working out. Like, I was so excited. And so then she tells me they can interview me for 2 more weeks. And I'm like, oh, I don't have that kind of time. Like, I need a job now. So my mom was like, you know what, just ask them, like, can they interview you any sooner? And so I was like, yeah, are you guys able to take me any sooner by chance? And I just sent the email, and she got back to me literally the next morning, and she was like, yeah, I can take you today at 2. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I went in for the interview. I got offered the job the next day, and then yeah, I had a job, and I had left my previous job like maybe 2.5, 3 days prior. So to me, that was the work of God, because I was like, first of all, it's so hard to find a job in this economy, the way everything is set up. It's really hard to find like a stable job. And you know, life is just hard. So the fact that everything kind of fell into place like that, and especially right before I was supposed to move in my apartment, like, I guess that was one of those, like, I was in awe of God. And that was one of those things that I was like, this had to be God. Like, that was undeniably God, because I haven't been doing anything. And like, the way things just moved and shifted in my favor, it just felt like what 16 and 17-year-old me knew to be God. And I think that day I just decided to surrender my heart to God and try to step back into Christianity and see what happened. And this was in July. And now we're November, and I got baptized in October. So I think that tells us everything we need to know. But yeah, I know this video is going to be probably like longer than my average videos. But I've been walking with God basically since I decided to surrender my heart and try to step back into Christianity. I reached out to some of my old friends who are Christian, or who kind of went through the same things I did, like stepped into New Age and then ended up going back to Christianity. And I kind of told them where I was mentally, like, yeah, I think I want to walk with Jesus again, but obviously I haven't been for a few years. And like, I don't know if God's going to be as accepting, but you know, our God is a God of mercy and grace, the God of hosts, a God of love, and a gracious, forgiving God. So he's been accepting, to say the least. I have sought out the Lord every day, and even my hard days now are not as hard anymore, because I know that there is a God taking care of me, and I know that Jesus died for me. And so I know that probably sounds so cliche, but literally, yeah, I just had the biggest change of heart, and I'm really glad I did. And I've even seen the things that I thought I would lose per se, or that God wouldn't like give me the same spiritual gifts. I've seen those come to fruition again in the name of Jesus, which I think makes all the difference. So that's been really cool. And I'm learning now how to walk with God through my trials. I had a really hard period, and I've had some really, really hard days. And it is a lot easier to say now, I'm going to go pray about it, and I'm going to release this and cast my worries upon the Lord, than it was to sit and stress about things and to, you know, just be anxious all the time. Even when I thought I wasn't anxious, I was still having anxiety. But I will say too, like, my relationship with the Lord now is so beautiful, because I know how to seek God, and I know how to seek Jesus and to understand Jesus. And I didn't know that before. I'm learning who God is as our Heavenly Father and as the Son. I'm learning discernment, doing Bible studies, making more Christian friends, learning a lot right now. I'm just in a season of learning and growth in my walk with Jesus, and it's been amazing. Honestly, like, it's been so amazing. But yeah, I just am really grateful. And it's also nice, like, having a Christ-centered relationship where we're both growing. Like, I don't think either one of us is perfect, but we both push each other in our individual relationships with God, and making sure that we include God in our actual relationship. So that's also really nice. And yeah, I just thank God that He blessed me with a partner that, one, would help me like walk back into Christianity gently and not with like a force, like, oh, you're not Christian, so mean you don't need to be together, but more of like like he said something that meant a lot to me the other day. He was saying, like, even though I wasn't Christian when we met, I still had traits that reminded him of Jesus, and that was something that he liked. That is a little bit of my testimony and just the road it took for me to get here and what I wanted to share with you guys after getting baptized. But I will see you guys in a video soon, because I do have more videos coming. I just postponed filming this because I haven't had time, honestly. You know, full-time job, full-time master's student, and other things that I'm doing now that I'm sure will come out later. But yeah, I just had to find the time to film this because I wanted to devote the next video after getting baptized to being about my walk with God and my testimony and just what happened in the last few years. But if you made it this far, thank you for watching, because I already know this video was long. I will see you guys in a video soon, and tell me if y'all have some video suggestions, or just if anyone's going through the same thing, you know, you need some scriptures to reference. If you're in Georgia, Metro Atlanta area, you need a Bible study to go to, I'm your girl. I have a Bible study every Wednesday. And the girls that come are just so amazing. I have been finding more Christian events in Atlanta. So yeah, I think Atlanta's Christian like kingdom is definitely rising, and it makes me so happy, especially with my church. I go to 2819. I love that church so much. I also go to a smaller church called Riverstone. Riverstone is so amazing. So I have 2 home churches, but literally, yeah, video suggestions if y'all have any questions, if you want someone to talk to, if you feel like you're going through the same thing, because I know it happens a lot where people go from practicing spirituality, New Age spirituality, to Christianity. Or if you're like me, you leave Christianity to go to New Age and to come back, right back. And I also just had to learn, like, you're not being flip-floppy. If God wants to call you back, He's going to call you back. And God snatched me back. So, but yeah, anything you want to talk about, my DMs are always open. I'll include my social media in the bio at the end of the video. Or if you want to leave a comment about something, if you're comfortable, please do that too. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. And if you made it this far, thank you so much. I hope you have a blessed morning, day, or night whenever you're watching this. And I can't wait to see y'all in the next video. Bye.